Remember, if you've got a problem with your personal confuser, don't whine, don't moan, don't yell. Just call for help.
Coming up tonight, what the heck are these? Vintage gear or modded PCs? And Yoshi takes a San Francisco tour in a modded Mercedes. Plus, mod Windows XP, make it a 3D machine for free. Live from the Tech TV studios in San Francisco, it's the Screen Savers! Woo, woo, woo!
Welcome to the Screensavers. I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Kevin Rose. Thanks for joining us on the Screensavers. It is Mod Week all week long. That's awesome.
And we're having a lot of mods tonight. We got another great mod guest. Bringing the mod called the Machine Age. And a fan of the show took Yoshi for a ride in his teched-out Mercedes.
That's right. Was that fun,
Sarah?
Yoshi?
Yeah, it was cool.
Yoshi had fun.
He liked it. I like your technology. What are you up to, Sarah?
Well, I like e-technology too, but I'm showing you a kind of fun little XP trick. It's free that will make things three-dimensional. That is all I will say.
Now this isn't lame because normally like 3D stuff, 3D
Right.
downloads, 3D icons. Who cares?
3D Linux.
This is cool. I like this. 3D Linux was cool. I did that.
I'm banging on you.
Why are you banging on me?
Because we can.
That's
Dan,
right.
what are you up to today?
Hey, I'm here taking your phone calls. What? Stop laughing, Sarah.
You shaved. It looks
Anyways.
funny.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, give me a call. The phone number is 888-989-7879. And also email us at thescreensavers@techtv.com. And I also want to let you know to call an hour before the show to get you on. And also, if you have a net cam, you get a free T-shirt if we get you on.
Ooh.
Not bad, huh? Our first caller might have that too. Might get a free T-shirt.
Outstanding.
Back to you guys.
Dan's birthday's coming up.
Yeah.
Week after next.
He's going to be 19
Yes,
years
he
old.
is.
19, 16.
Aww.
No, because we can't employ you legally at 16.
Oh, you can't?
19.
Oh, okay.
Nod your head and say yes. 19.
Yes, Patrick.
No, he's actually 25.
We think.
That's right. Let's start with the tech news that caught our eye today. Sarah has the first story.
That's right. Intel's highly anticipated and much delayed Dothan processor has finally been launched. The mobile processors, which are also known as Pentium M's, run at a very economical 21 watts and feature 2 megs of L2 cache. The Pentium M4 notebooks come in 3 flavors and carry Intel's new naming scheme. Expect the M735, M745, and M755 to start showing up in new notebooks very soon. Patrick's doing a little dance over there.
What are you doing,
Actually,
Pat?
an intern literally just ran over.
We have the new notebooks.
Well, they're over there.
Here they come.
Actually. Thank you. I mean, literally, we just got these in last week. Han Choi's been benchmarking them. And they're pretty sick.
Now, I get to play with one of these, right? There's
Yeah,
one
you
in
actually
here
have a
for
Dell
me.
coming in. We've got Winbook, we've got Dell, we've got a new IBM ThinkPad. There's actually the
want
Dell.
one.
Well, we don't
there's
get
mine.
to keep these. They all have to go back to the vendors. Here's the thing, though, is we're going to have a full roundup on these with benchmarks. You can basically, it's the same price on the chip, about 22% faster, 18 to 22% faster on the benchmarks, and a 2 megabyte cache.
Yeah, they've
It's
shrunk
amazing.
They've shrunk everything. Oops. Sorry.
Give me
I
that.
put that down. Brand new microprocessors. That's
Yeah,
probably
we
like a $2,000 notebook.
Or was.
I'm excited to play with these. From what I've read, I was doing a little searching around. I was on Tom's Hardware, a few of the other sites, and they're saying, what were you saying as far as performance?
Somewhere around a 20%
Yeah,
boost.
that's what I read as well. Right around 20%.
Should be about the same cost. It's anyhow, Han Choi's going to come on. He's going to give us the battery life story. He's going to tell us what the performance is.
I'm
and
stoked.
things. Pro Portable hooks us up with an Asus. Dell sent us in a notebook. Winbook. We got a couple others, and we're also going to have a whole bunch of notebooks. So we're going to compare different processors to see how the last 4 or 5 mobile processors
Nice.
really square off.
Do we have that scheduled? Any date when we're going to air that?
You know, if I knew it off the top of my head, I'd tell you.
Soon. Very soon.
Keep watching, kids. Sarah?
Yes. The Electronic Entertainment Expo E3 is going on in Los Angeles right now. Also in early news from the E3 Expo, Sony has announced that the PS2 price will drop from $180 to $150. This price drop will compete with Microsoft's Xbox a little bit better. Meanwhile, Microsoft has announced that they're adding some new features to Xbox Live. They've mentioned video conferencing capability and plans for Xbox Live Arcade, which will offer downloadable games.
That's awesome. The cool thing about Xbox Live is that they made a major announcement, and that is that all of the Madden games and all the games from Electronic Arts are now going to play on Xbox Live, which is huge. Dan, that's huge, isn't it?
Very happy about that.
There's like one guy clapping.
Big
and he's
Mac
like,
That would be the Madden player in the building.
I'm telling you, that is huge though, because Electronic Arts was.
I'm not doubting you.
Well, you're not a big gamer, so you don't get excited about
I'm not
this
a big, no, but the idea of playing this insanely complex, incredibly realistic football, I'm like NFL Blitz, you know what I mean?
Blitz is fun.
Blitz is fun.
That's just good.
Madden, just there's a level of involvement there. There's a commitment there I'm not making.
Well, you know, they have that conference. The Madden bus actually drives around, and there's like a $40,000 prize if you win the Madden tournament. It's big. But I'm excited because finally all these games that were only on the PlayStation 2 are now going to be on the Xbox Live, which is a cool thing.
I mean, it's amazing. It's like the PlayStation 2's cutting in prices. Everybody's announcing their next generation consoles. There's going to be a ton of portables. I can't wait to see what Joshua Brentano comes back with.
That new Nintendo portable looked pretty cool too. We saw a screenshot of that one. That was
be interesting.
Cool
so
stuff.
Get back here, Brentano.
Yes, come back. We want to play with the toys.
Yeah.
Moving on, yesterday we reported that German authorities had arrested the sole author of the Sasser worm on Friday. Today was reported that a new version of the Sasser internet worm, Sasser F, has appeared. Like other versions, it exploits a recently disclosed hole in a component of Microsoft's operating system. I never want to see that worm again.
That's like the best graphic we've ever had.
We've been using it for like 4 weeks now.
Yeah.
Stop with the Sasser worms.
Look at him. He's escaping with his little cape on. That's
poor
awesome.
guy. He's kind of cute.
Yeah, I'm tired of worms. Who cares about worms anymore? You know what? Of all this talk that we've had about worms and viruses and everything, you know, I run the Windows updates. I'm running Windows XP on this one here. It's like, I haven't gotten one of them.
That's because you're actually running the Windows update.
That's true.
Run Windows updates. Don't open
I would
attachments.
think most people do that by now.
Well, you would think.
Yeah,
but
you would think. At least our viewers would, I'm sure.
We know it's none of you out there. But tell all of your neighbors and all of your friends to tell all of their friends to not open attachments and blah, 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 and run Windows updates. It's funny. I love the fact that the latest variation came out after he's in jail.
Yeah, I know.
So perfect.
Somebody else has the source code.
It's not the first time a worm has been improved by somebody else.
That's true.
Sarah, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. You fellas have a nice show now, will ya?
Yeah, thanks.
Ray. How you doing, Ray?
How you doing, Kevin and Pat?
Good. Where are you calling in from?
Lockport, New York. It's on the Erie Barge Canal in Lockport, New York.
Cool.
Nice.
How can we help you today?
Well, I've got 7 kids. 6 of them are teenagers, and one's a 4-year-old.
7 kids. Wow.
Been busy.
We're not going to go there.
It's like Pat. Just kidding.
We got a couple computers and a bunch of DVD players, and because everybody's swapping discs all over the place, I'd like to back them up somehow. And I was wondering, you know, what kind of options am I looking at to do that? I got a Sony 530, so I could do either the CD or the DVD, but, you know, just a good program that I could back them up with is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's funny. We hear this all the time. I mean, with kids, they're tossing around the discs, they're sitting on them, breaking them.
I've just spent $300 on the latest collection of Disney videos. My child has already scratched 3, fed one to the dog, and, like, thrown the other one under the couch. Yeah, what you want to do is basically, you probably want something really simple and really painless to burn them to DVD as cheaply and easily as possible, right?
You got it, man. These kids eat.
I bet they do. They're scary when they're little. What do you recommend?
Well, as far as DVD backup, when it comes to free stuff, I like DVD Shrink. It's really cool. It's an all-in-one solution. It's completely free. You download it, you put the DVD in, and what it's going to do is take all that information, read it, compress it, and shrink it down to fit on a single layer DVD, which means you don't have to have multiple discs. Now, the quality won't be as good as the original DVD that's on a dual-layer disc because you're going to have to span it across, you know, uncompressed. But it's decent. It's nice. It's perfect for the kids. They're not going to notice a little tiny artifact here or there on the screen.
And if they do, then tell them to buy their own disc.
We have the application here. Let's see if we can launch it. Here's DVD Shrink. We don't have a DVD in the drive right now, but if we did, all we would do is click on Analyze the Disk, and then it'll show you the compression settings here on the right. You click one button to burn it, and it's a done deal, as long as you have a DVD burner and a player that can play back burn discs.
And you can uncheck, like, the French or the German or the Japanese version.
Save a little bit of space and get better compression.
Yeah.
So as far as DVDs goes, your movies and all that, that's your solution. About games.
Games are a little trickier, right? Because game companies are used to their stuff being stolen and pirated, so they go out of their way to make it as difficult as possible to back up your games onto other media. So you may have to experiment. Kevin's got a couple of his favorites. Alcohol 120% is a simple way to back them up onto a hard drive. Can you also burn them to a CD with this?
You can. You can save the images to the hard drive. You can burn them to a CD. But the thing here is that you have to know what type of copy protection they are using. Because there's going to be about, about 10 or so different from a drop-down list there. So what you're going to need to do is go out, and there's a piece of software, I have a link to it in one of my articles that you download, and it will examine your disks. This is on a disc-by-disc basis. So you're going to put your game in. It will examine the media, determine the type of copy protection that it has, and then let you know what you have to choose in alcohol. One other thing you might want to try also, the nice thing about alcohol 120%, what's even better than actually burning the disk, is that it will save the image to the hard drive and allow you to mount a virtual drive on the hard drive. So what that means is that you put the disk in once, it reads it all, it saves it as one big file on your drive, it will then mount it as like an F or a K drive, or you just choose the drive letter that you want. It thinks that it's a CD-ROM. You can install it from there and then run it right from the hard drive. You never have to swap disks again or worry about them getting broken. You can lock them up in the closet.
Yeah.
So if I got my computer's network, then they can access it through that then?
That's a good question. In theory,
you probably have to turn on file sharing to access the disk. It probably work better
if you had a fast, maybe gigabit network or something. I don't know what the data transfer speeds would be on a 100 megabit network to get that amount of information into the game to play over a network.
It could be really painful.
That sounds fun. I want to try that out. That sounds like something cool to try.
You'll try that out. The other thing we should point out is, of course, by violating copy protection on the DVD or the games, you are violating the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which secures the right of copyright holders to protect their intellectual property, which means, technically, what we just told you to do is not particularly legal.
They told me not to do that, I know.
Yeah, so good. You know that. The other thing you want to do, if you want to help in the legal fight, right? Because, Ray, you are the perfect example of somebody who has a tremendously legitimate reason to back up the stuff they buy. The DVDs, the kids killing the DVDs, losing the game disc and all that stuff. One company that might be worth supporting, 321 Studios, they actually make Games X Copy, and they are basically embroiled in legal battles to try to secure fair use rights for you. And also might want to check out the EFF as another organization to back up who are trying to secure your right to be able to replace discs that your kids keep losing under the couch.
We haven't tried this one yet, but we will soon. We'll get it in and test it out.
Cool, man. Great question.
Yes.
And actually, you get a free T-shirt for being on Netcam, just like the one Young Fu showed you a minute ago. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just getting started. Yoshi takes a ride in the Teched-Out Mercedes, and it's Mod Week. Meet another one of Yoshi's favorite modders, and check out these two wicked retrospective PC mods coming up when the Screensavers continue.
It's Mod Week, and yesterday we saw Lord Phaeton's bugged-out PC mod, the Scarab. Well, today we've got something totally different. Here to show us his two vintage modded PCs. Welcome, Jeffrey Stevenson. Hey, Jeffrey.
Hi, how you doing? Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, we're glad to have you. So you're one of Yoshi's favorite modders. How did you guys meet each other?
Well, he's been pretty active on my forums, and he teased me with this mod. I saw like a little partial picture of it, and I'm like, ooh, that looks like it's machined out of metal. I PM'd him, hey, how's that made? And, well, I was fooled, so, we'll get into that. No, it's not metal.
Oh, wow.
It looks like it's metal. I'm sure everyone at home thinks it's metal, and we just gave it away. But we're going to show how that was done up anyway. So how exactly did you make this enclosure? Because it's not milled.
Yes, it's actually made out of plywood, and this is 3/8 inch stock that's glued up, and it's made to look like aluminum. My original design called for aluminum, but all I could afford was wood. So, but it was a lot of fun doing that.
Now, people are probably wondering, what is this model after? I mean, it looks like kind of like an air compressor or something, but it's actually it's an old radio that you modeled this after.
It's actually a radio that was sold in a Sears catalog in 1939, called the Silver Tone 6110.
Nice. And you actually have the front dials on there as well, too.
Get a good look at
those. Take a look at those.
Yeah, they're functional.
So there's the original right there.
That's the original. Now, what are those buttons you have up on top in that picture there?
Oh, that's the original radio.
That's the original radio.
That's the original radio that was built in 1939. And they sold on eBay for over $1,000, so that really threw out the idea of modding an original radio.
Right.
So
a little pricey.
I had to build my own.
But it looks like you built the exact same thing. I was fooled. I thought that was your original mod there with the buttons and everything.
No.
So what do you have inside of it?
Yeah, walk us through all the features and everything. The back is impressive,
Yeah,
too.
let's get a good shot of the back panel there. We have some really nice panel-mounted PS2 ports, a serial port, and your Ethernet cables there. It just holds into the look of the case very well because it has that machine look to it.
Yes, those are I/O ports. They're panel pass-through ports, and that allows me to position the motherboard anywhere I want to inside the case.
And what kind of components did you put in it?
Well, the motherboard is a VIA M9000, and hard drives, this is a regular 3.5-inch hard drive. I have Corsair memory in it, and I also have a light feature. I have
There's the pictures right there. That's the inside.
So that's the mini iTix motherboard right there.
Yes.
And that's the iTuner power supply on it. Now that right there is the fan that's mounted behind where your cold cathode is.
Yes.
Now let's spin around here so we can give everyone an idea. That's mounted right behind this right here. That was looking directly at that shot without the cylinder in place.
So that's how you're getting the air in, because it looks like there's a little slit right here that sucks the air back in. Is that how it's working?
No, actually the air comes in through the back.
Oh, it does. Okay.
And the fan discharges it into the back of this, and it actually changes directions and exits out the top.
And we just saw the cold cathode lighting up there. That's the light that comes along the rim.
Yes,
there
it's
that we
just
saw.
a very thin clearance all the way around, then I have very intense green light coming out.
Now, do you have to seal everything up, especially to make sure you didn't get light leaks at other places?
Yes, I had light leaks in it, and I had to preserve the image of it. See, this is not actually a tube that's embedded into the computer. It's actually just sitting on top of it. It's another one of the illusions. And when I fired it up, the light was so intense that it actually leaked out of the... So I had to seal it up.
Cool. That's a cool mod, but this is my favorite out of both of them. This is the cigar box.
This is the mini-me mod.
Oh, I love this one. Look how clean this would look sitting on your desktop. I would love to have this. And if you open it up, look at that. Nice little hard drive inside, motherboard.
Now, this one has gotten a lot of publicity, especially in Europe.
Yes.
Now, tell us about this. Is not a mini ITX motherboard or a nano ITX. It's a little bit smaller than those. What kind of motherboard is that?
It's a 3.5-inch form factor, and that was named after the fact that it's the exact same size as a 3.5-inch hard drive. It's used mostly in industrial applications. It's very expensive. This was made in Germany, and it was given to me by the factory.
That's cool. How fast is the processor on this?
It's a 600 megahertz processor.
Now, this isn't. It's not an Intel or an AMD. It looks like a little. What is that? What processor?
It's a VIA.
The VIA.
VIA C3.
Okay.
With a little cooling fan on it.
You can see the little tiny cooling fan here, right inside there. It's pretty cool. Look how small that is. Just barely fits in there. That's awesome.
It's a 512 megabytes of RAM and a 40 gigabyte hard drive. It does everything a computer needs to do.
Cool.
So you got to have some stuff coming out in the future. What's up next?
I am designing a computer for QuakeCon 04 for the case mod competition, but I really can't say much more than that because I'm under a non-disclosure agreement.
That's okay. We're a little tease of things to come. Just
awesome.
on these, it's going to be pretty good.
Yes, hopefully.
So on your website, slipperyskip.com, you have article details on these mods, some other mods on there, instructions on how you built everything.
Do you have message boards too?
No, I don't. I used Yoshi's. That's the reason.
Nice. Because I always see Yoshi like fighting with the other modders, like my message boards are better than yours. I'm just kidding. Yeah,
we get along. We get along.
Cool. Jeffrey, thanks so much for being on the show. We appreciate you showing us the cool mods.
Amazing project.
I mean, learn how Jeffrey built these mods. You can read his detailed article. We have all the information at thescreensavers.com. Now, still to come, Leo stops by with some Mac troubleshooting tips. And up next, should you go for ATI or NVIDIA next generation video cards? We'll tell you when the Screensavers continues.
G4 Tech TV, coming May 28th. Stay connected.
Brian Grossman on the phone from Asheville, North Carolina. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, howdy, boys.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Outstanding.
Doing great.
My question is about the next generation video cards. ATI and NVIDIA has both released or announced their next generation cards, and I was wondering if you thought the performance leap in these cards has finally made it worth the steep price for early adaption.
Well, what kind of video games do you like to play, Brian?
Well, I really like Unreal Tournament 2004, and what I really want is I want my my system to be able to cut through Far Cry.
Okay.
I have Far Cry at home, and I've been running the same problem.
It's tough.
Yeah.
What size monitor do you have, Brian?
17-inch Sony.
So you run like 1024 by 768?
Yeah.
Let me show you. This is great. Tom's Hardware actually has a great review. For those of you who aren't quite in the loop, right? Like April 14th, NVIDIA came out with a GeForce 6800 Ultra. And then about 3 weeks later, ATI came out with their next generation Radeon, which is the X800, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, the Enforce, the GeForce, the new 6800 Ultra is the most amazing leap in graphics performance ever. Oh wow, neat!" And then like 3 weeks later, the ATI releases their next generation chip,
X800,
and it beats actually if you're talking about full scale anti-aliasing and anisotropic filtering, a lot of the high end stuff you want to turn on to make basically the best image quality on your gaming. It beats out the 6800, the NVIDIA product in some cases.
Right.
But check this out, right? Look at over here, this graphic we got up here from Tom's Hardware, and if you take a close look at that, you see these like 104.5 frames per second for the X800 XT and the GeForce 6800 Ultra, 102 frames per second. These are great numbers, right? And look, this is the last generation card, 69 frames, 72 frames down here. That's a pretty healthy difference, right?
That's my card right there at the very bottom, just to let you know, the 5950U. But I don't get the 72 frames a second, and the reason being is because I only have a 3000 plus processor.
Well,
so
hold on. Let me show Brian something first, right? You see those huge differences in performance, Brian?
Yeah.
Let me scroll up here where they're running the same video game at 1024 by 768. You see where, if you take a look at this benchmark, if I can get my system to actually function for a moment, you see where it says 105.3, 104.6, 106.9, 102.6. That's what Unreal Tournament 2004 looks like when you're running at 1024 by 768. Your processor is the bottleneck. Your processor can't basically throttle any more information. It's not going to make a difference what graphics cards you have at that resolution. What's the chip you're running right now, Brian?
Well, I just bought a new computer to get ready for these new games like Doom 3 and Half-Life. So I got I just bought a 3 gigahertz P4 with 800 megahertz or whatever front-side bus.
Yeah.
And I bought more RAM, so I've got 768 now of RAM.
What's the graphics card you're using?
Well, it's just the one that came with the Dell 8300. I think it's a Ultra 5200.
Yeah, you would probably notice a pretty healthy performance boost. If you check out Tom's Hardware, they've got the VGA Generation 3 charts, and they basically took like 40 different graphics cards, and they ran it. The last bench, the newest stuff they have is like Unreal Tournament 2003, but it'll give you an idea of relative performance across a ton of graphics cards. And we put a link to that up in the show notes. What you want to take a look at, to be honest with you, yes, you'll be good for a graphics card is definitely the way to go. You've got a ton of RAM, you've got a fast processor.
I was going to say I have the 3 gigahertz, the same equivalent of what his chip is, and I have the 5950U, and I have had a chance to play with these hands-on. I recommend getting that faster card if you can afford it, because you will see a huge jump in performance.
The thing is, though, for like the Radeon X800 Pro versus the XT is going to cost $100 more at 1024 by 768. You're not going to notice anything in that last $100 of performance, Brian. And the other
That's
thing,
probably all he can run right now, though. You stay at that resolution because of the fact that you can't run anything higher.
Well,
you're not going to bump it up to 16 by 12 if you're getting 12 frames a second.
But I'm saying it's like, if you want to take advantage of the last $200 of your graphics card, buy a new monitor first. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like, don't buy a graphics card that you can't take advantage of with the monitor you have. It's a waste of money. And you got to
look at what Pat's saying. Is you got to look at everything, your entire system, whether it be monitor, CPU, graphics card. Make sure they're all up to par.
Yeah, and the other thing is, neither one of these cards are shipping yet, and we don't know when they're going to start shipping. So you may have a lot of time to save up money for them. Let's check in with Leo and get some quick Mac tips. Leo?
It's not unusual. I know OS X is very reliable, but it's not unusual for somebody to call me and say, hey, Leo, programs are crashing on OS X. What do I do? And there are 3 steps every Mac user should take before you call tech support. Starting with, number 1, going into the system preferences, opening the accounts pane, and creating a new dummy account. We've created one here called Ghost in the Machine. This is an account that you never use. But if you're having problem with a program, logging into this unused, untouched, pristine account is a good idea, because then you can see if the problem is global to the machine or just to your login. If the program works fine in Ghost in the Machine, then you're fine. you go ahead and you say, well, it's simply a problem locally, and I can figure out what that is. If it works globally, that's another issue. That's step one. Step two is to go into your applications, utilities folder, and open up the disk utility. It's applications, utilities, open up the disk utility. This is probably something you could do every month or so. OS 10 is a Unix operating system, multi-user operating system, and so permissions are very important in OS 10. It's a great idea periodically to fix the disk permissions on the boot volume. If permissions get screwed up, and they frequently do, fixing them can solve a lot of problems. The last thing you should try before you call tech support, delete preferences for the application that's giving you a problem. The preferences exist in two places. If you found out that it was local to your system, go to your home directory, library, preferences folder, and delete the relevant preferences from there. If you found out it was global to the entire system, then go to the root directory, library, preferences, and delete those preferences. It's safe in most cases to delete preferences. The application will recreate them, but it really can fix a lot of problems. Very frequently, application preferences get screwed up, not the application. 3 troubleshooting tips every Mac user should know. Back to you guys.
Cool. Was he wearing that shirt yesterday?
I think so.
Leo, we thank you, sir. Don't go anywhere. Sarah shows you a cool program to turn your desktop into a 3D sphere. And after the break, an IT specialist and Screensavers fan takes Yoshi under the hood of his heavily modded Mercedes. All coming up when the Screensavers continue. Welcome back to the Screensavers. I'm Patrick Norton. Coming up in this half hour, Sarah's going to help give your XP desktop a whole new look. It's round. And our next caller wants to buy an iPod mini. Find out why that isn't so easy and whether or not the early iPod mini problems are really problems. Now, you think you have some kind of state-of-the-art James Bond car to access fancy tech? IT specialist and Screensavers fan Rick Nauycott drove here from Florida while he was doing some other stuff in Cali to show us just how wired his old Mercedes is. He's got some serious modding action going on.
Yeah, I went along on a little ride with him around Mercedes, San Francisco, and checked it out. Let's take a look. We have what looks like a normal average Mercedes here, but Rick, you've driven all the way to Florida to show us something. You have a little technology under the hood on this bad boy.
Yeah, I've done a tweak or two.
Let's check it out. Give me a test drive.
All right.
All right, Rick, you're in the city. What sights do you want to see?
I've always wanted to see the Golden Gate Bridge.
All right, let's do it. You head back down Lombard Street.
No. I've got it covered with my GPS navigational system. Check this out. You ready? Let's go.
So tell me a little bit about what you got in this system.
I've always wanted to do an ATX computer touchscreen system in a car. It's been one of the dreams of mine for some time.
So what are you using all this for?
Accessing my customer servers remotely. I can use everything from VNC, terminal services, PC Anywhere, and so on and so forth.
So how are you accessing the internet in the system?
Well, I'm using a Nextel i90C cell phone, and it connects to the computer via the USB port. And I have an external antenna that is on a 3-watt booster, which is, of course, the FCC legal limit. And that's how I get cell phone service, typically where I'm not supposed to get cell phone service.
So why did you choose the capacitive screen?
I went with a capacitive over resistive screen because a resistive screen has plastic on top of it. Not only that, the graphics aren't as sharp, but with a capacitive screen, if you're filling fuel and you happen to spill some on your hand or check your oil and all that, it doesn't mess the screen up or damage the screen.
So show me how you use your GPS system.
What I do is I go over to the draw feature and select a color, and I pick a route, and I actually paint my way across town.
So you got a touchscreen, but how are you typing?
I have this beautiful backlit cobalt blue USB keyboard, and I actually can remove it without shutting down the system. If I don't need it, I pull it, wrap it up, and put it away, and if I need to enter some data, I just plug it right in and start typing.
So you're using this for business. What about entertainment?
I have MP3s. I can drive coast to coast and never hear the same song twice. I can even access streaming audio, video. I can play QuickTime. I can do basically anything anybody can do with a home computer.
All right, so here's your bridge. What you think?
It's beautiful, but it's red.
You know, everyone says that. Let's see what you got under the hood.
Well, under the hood, we upgraded to a 90 amp alternator and an extra fuse block, but the real stuff's back here. We have a cell phone antenna for their Nextel, the Garmin GPS receiver, and in the trunk, we have, as you can see, the black box here. We have a CD, DVD, ROM reader, and underneath that is the 80 gigabyte Western Digital hard drive, 7,200 RPMs, of course. And then to the bottom right, we have that's the little white box, is the KVM extender, of which I'm using the video to get the signal up to the front. And underneath that is, of course, the star, the 12-volt DC to DC power supply. And, of course, underneath all of that is the all-famous motherboard, the Pentium M 1.6 gigahertz.
Cool. So what's all this stuff over here?
I'm glad you asked that. We have the Wilson 3-watt antenna or cell phone antenna booster and a 55 amp hour battery, which is charged from the alternator up front. And of course our fuse blocks are sitting there, and underneath is the solid state battery isolator.
Cool. So when do I get to take it for a drive? Hey, see you later, Rick.
Hey, where are you going? Come back here. Hey, come back.
You did give him his car back, didn't you?
Yeah, look, he got it back later that night. You know, he only needed it to drive home.
What do you want most out of that car?
I like the cell phone
the 3-watt booster?
Yeah, you know, too many times you're traveling through the middle of nowhere and you just get no signal. That
Actually,
alone.
Wilson makes these monster, like 5 dBi extension antennas. I have one of those on my truck. Those are great.
Yes, definitely. Hey, for a complete list of the parts that Rick used to mod out his Mercedes and photos and credits, be sure to hit up our website at screensavers.com.
Right now we got Sarah with some inside information.
That crazy Yoshi is always stealing people's cars. Hey, gadget lovers, you're definitely going to dig our Digital Digs Roadshow because it's full of gadgety goodness. But as a bonus, you get to meet me and my geekier half, Kevin Rose. Our roadshow hits the Cool Springs Galleria in Hex Court in Franklin, Tennessee. That's right outside of Nashville this weekend, May 15th and 16th. The event runs from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday and noon to 5 on Sunday. So you've got lots of chances to hang. For more information and to learn all about the coast-to-coast stops of the roadshow, go to techtv.com/digitaldigs. Now, stay where you are, because our next caller is looking for an iPod mini. He's getting cold feet. Find out what's holding him back. And up next, I've got a free download that'll transform XP into a 3D sphere. It's amazing, and it's all when the Screensavers continue.
Let's check in with the fine folks over at Tech Live to see what's coming up tonight.
People look cold up there above all those buildings, but hey, it's San Francisco. They should know better. You know what? I want to tell you what's going on our show after yours today. In fact, tonight on Tech Live...
Are you Chris Leary?
In fact, I am, yes.
Is that Chris Leary?
Yes, the one and only. I can't sign autographs right now. I'm very busy.
Anyhow,
however, tonight, Tech Live, listen to this, man. We're going to show you how a bunch of NYU grad students are trying to innovate video gaming. But listen to this. Actually, instead of creating futuristic characters...
In the streets.
Yeah, right. Well, back in time... You know, they're actually doing this stuff in the streets. Pac-Man. Look at that. Streets of New York City. That's coming up right after the screensavers. Like, you can't really see right there, but when you see it, there's actually these guys playing Pac-Man in the streets of New York City.
They're like running around in giant costumes.
Yeah.
It's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. Whatever they're showing you right there, this gentleman apparently is a family member or something, wanted to get on TV. But, yeah, it's kind of cool, and you'll see it on our show. We like it, and we like to show you stuff that's neat, and that'd be cool.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys.
Chris isn't lying. It's really amazing. Basically, they shut down a bunch of blocks down around NYU, and they essentially mapped out a giant Pac-Man course.
Just like you saw in the video.
On the streets of Manhattan.
Okay. It's just like the video.
Yeah, not really.
It's good stuff.
But
Tech Live.
It's neat. It's right, but I do know this. It's right after the screensaver, so.
With the irrepressible Chris Leary.
Thank God.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, guys, thanks.
Now, Lane Dog has a free download.
I do. You know, I just want to make a quick note. Chris Leary's mother was watching the show a couple weeks ago when I made a joke to Jessica about how we're all real tired of Leary, and she called him and said, "Why do they hate you on the Screensavers?" Mrs. Leary, we like Chris Leary. Thumbs up. Moving on. Windows XP is Microsoft's latest version of the Windows two-dimensional environment, right? We're all used to 2D desktops, Windows on top of each other, but does that mean Windows as you know them are the best they can be? Today's challenger is a free download called Sphere XP. Transforms XP into a 3D universe. It's really fun. Now, if you look at my desktop right now, I've got some stuff minimized. It looks pretty normal, right? Not so, because look, as I transform this into a 3D universe, this is actually the very, you know it, you love it, the Screensaver's wallpaper logo. We use it all the time, but if I go up to the top, sort of this North Pole of the sphere, you can see that, in fact, it looks a little different. Before I get into the features, I just want to point out that down in the lower right-hand corner here is my sphere. I'm in the middle of it. Sphere XP wrapped the wallpaper around me all the way, 360 degrees, and now my programs can be they're sort of as they're virtual placeholders inside the sphere. It's very fun. So what I do to just get around the sphere is I hold down my scroll key and I can do all of that good stuff. Now, all of my programs can also be moved around inside the sphere. This is my Internet Explorer Google page. I can move it around anywhere I want to with my left click, and my right click what does it do, actually? It makes it closer or farther away. And these are my command prompt. Doesn't just have to be Internet Explorer. Although I have noticed that it doesn't work with AIM, and I'm guessing it doesn't work with a couple other programs that are not necessarily Windows friendly. But for the most part, it does work. I've got Windows Media Player open and all of that good stuff. So, and also with my right click,
How do you maximize it, though?
How do you maximize? Oh, that's a very good point. Yes, one thing to note is that these are really virtual placeholders. It's almost as if they're minimized and Windows has taken a screenshot and just put it somewhere. So you can't actually write any of this stuff. I wouldn't be able to do anything on my command prompt until I make it active. All you have to do is just double-click on it, and it'll bring it up to the front. And then click once outside of the area, and it'll go back to its little place. And it's great. It's fun. I don't really have a whole lot of time to tell you much more about it, except that spacebar will take you to the control area where you can change some colors of your grid. And in the controls, you can say, well, what if I don't really want to use my right click to make my individual windows bigger and smaller and up front of me and behind me and all that good stuff? I can give it some different keystrokes. It's great. I love this program. If nothing, even if you don't think that it is going to help your Windows environment, which it probably will, it's fun. It's fun to use, and it's completely free. You can get it in my Download of the Day article at thescreensavers.com. Also, if you like the 3D stuff, and there's a lot of buzz going around about this, I've also linked to some great video of Sun Microsystems' Project Looking Glass. That's a Java-based 3D desktop environment. It knocks everybody's socks off, everything I've seen up until this point. Peace, I'm out. Guys?
You should definitely take a look at both those because it shows the future of operating systems. It's really kind of cool.
Yeah.
There's some cool concepts there. Even though I don't know if I'd use it on a day-to-day basis, it's worth downloading to check out.
Yeah, I just downloaded it like 5 minutes ago.
It's pretty cool.
It's awesome.
Now, coming up after the break, Matt, our next caller, wants to know if those iPod mini issues have been resolved with the static and all that stuff. Yeah. We'll tell him when the Screensavers continues.
Catch tomorrow's show. Well, we're going to showcase an amazing home theater PC made of a wood and acrylic case, and we're going to show you a free spam filter to help you conquer spam, and we're going to give you help buying the right digital camera. Basically, what's an 8, a 4, and a 2-megapixel camera, what the differences are. James Kim's going to tell us about it all on tomorrow's Screensavers.
But now, Matt joins us on the phone from the Bronx, New York.
Hey, Matt.
Hey.
Hey.
What can we help you out with?
I'm on the market for an iPod mini, and a lot of people I know, they say that they have problems with it, like it freezes. I've heard you mention it. Other software issues like skipping and stuff, and I was just wondering if you had any idea when they were planning on fixing the software.
Hey, Matt, just out of curiosity, are these people who actually own an iPod mini, or are these people who read other people's angry reports on the web?
Well, I said that it froze once or twice.
They own it, and it freezes, and...
Wow.
You know what's funny?
It just froze?
No, I just lost all my music on my iPod mini. I kid you not. Look at this. Can we zoom in on this right here? This is not good. I just lost all my music just now on my iPod mini. There's my song list. There is no songs on my iPod mini.
Have you tried, like, rebooting it?
Don't play that sound!
We know where you're sitting, Rayvon.
I kid you not. This just happened. This is strange. I was going to say, you know, I've heard of isolated reports, as Apple says, of stuff.
Isolated reports?
I don't know what that means.
Look, an isolated incident, Matt!
That's what Apple said. I was reading their little press release, and it said, let's see, about with the crackling and popping problems. It says, we've had a few isolated reports.
Now, that's the problem with the jack that your headphones go into.
Which is supposedly what most people are complaining about. But now I'm complaining about the missing songs. This is a whole new problem that just happened to me. But that sucks.
Did you try doing a hard reboot on it?
No, I haven't tried that yet. There's a way you have to do like hold, off, hold in the menu and center. I'll try it over the break, but that sucks, man. I just lost all my music.
Matt, Kevin was all ready to
play any more sound noises. I'm going to get you, Rayvon.
Kevin was all ready to tell you to ignore those warnings, but I think he may have changed his tune in the last few minutes.
That's terrible.
So maybe
the hard drive's still good. I'll just resync it when I get home. But
right, but still, if you were on an airplane heading to who knows
which I was, I just got back, so maybe there was a little bit of
how upset would you be though?
Shifting in the luggage. I don't know.
Instead of having hours of beautiful music, you'd be staring at your iPod.
I know.
Where did my music go?
So there are some issues with the iPod Mini. What that means by a few isolated reports, I mean, if you live in a city,
that's marketing speak for we're becoming much more famous about this issue than we want to be.
That's right. So yeah, I would hold off till the version 1.1 comes out because there's definitely some issues. I have had a few freezes. Hold off.
Sounds good to me. Good luck, Matt.
Let's check in with Dan for a helpful tip.
Thank you, guys. Some of the biggest Windows annoyances come from the taskbar. Now, however, Sarah has found a great little utility that not only fixes the taskbar, but also the notification area and the quick launch bar. So it's called Taskbar Repair. Now, it's free, but some of the features require you to pay for the full version. Go to the screensavers.com/shownotes for the links to all that to download it, whatever you want. But stay where you are because we are checking your emails right after this break.
It's that time. Sarah, do you have any emails? Do you have any
Before we get to some of our tech emails, we've been getting a lot of emails about the G4 Tech TV, what's going on. We'd like to try to answer some of that as best as we can. Fellas?
We have a prepared statement, which I'm about to read. On May 28th, Tech TV and G4 will be merging into one channel that will feature the best of both networks, covering everything from games to gear and, of course, the screensavers. For more info, go to www.g4techtv.com. That's www.g4techtv.com.
Yeah, they have a lot of information up there. They'll tell you exactly which shows from Tech TV are moving over and which shows from G4 are moving over into the combined network. Press releases are there. They have contact information if you want to get a hold of them and tell them what you think. It's all there, so that's definitely the website to check out.
But yeah, if you enjoy G4 TV or if you enjoy Tech TV now, you should continue to have access to it after the merger, and basically they go to a single feed, which is Tech TV, Tech Talk for basically the channel to get combined on May 28th.
Cool. That's it.
Okay. Moving on. This one's from Gary in Port Hope, Ontario. He says, yo, I was wondering if Yoshi ever tried a plasma torch for any of his case mods.
Yosh?
I don't own a plasma torch. I would really like one, but no, I have not tried one for my case mods. Laser cutters.
What is a plasma torch? I have no idea what that is.
It's a way to cut steel, but you need big, giant gas tank and 220 voltage, and just don't have it in my workshop.
Nice.
Cool.
Sounds like
they're really fun to watch because they just basically shoot holes in steel.
That's cool.
Yeah. Definitely take your feet off.
You should do a segment on it. That'd be awesome.
Plasma cutter?
Yeah.
So we can get a plasma cutter in for Yoshi. You want to play with a plasma cutter?
I want to play with the plasma cutter. Let's get one in.
Plasma cutter product
review. He's broken his foot. He's cut his finger and gone to the hospital. I'm scared if we put a plasma cutter in his hands.
Do you promise to be really safe, Yoshi?
I'll keep all my digits. I promise.
I hope. Okay, we have hold up the hands. We have all the digits.
I have all 10. I'll have and 20 if you count the toes. I'll have all 20 when it's done.
That was like a Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue pan up on Yoshi right there. That was awesome. Oh, there we go.
Ladies and gentlemen. Do we have time for another question? How about another pan of Yoshi?
That was more than 20 digits. Okay. William says, what are the advantages or disadvantages to building a new PC rather than buying a prepackaged PC from Dell or Gateway or one of those guys?
Well, you get to control the parts if you build your own PC, and you might be able to get, a lot of times with low-end PC, you can't get decent gaming graphics.
Right.
Biggest advantage of buying it from Dell or somebody, you usually get at the high end, you spend less money. We got to go, folks.
That's it for this year's Screensavers. I'm Kevin Rose.
And I'm Andy Norton. Thanks for joining us. Thank you again, Stephanie Stevenson. We'll see you next time. Have a great night.